Great to have everybody. Obviously, a really exciting week for us. We had really a good day of prep for our guys. They did a good job on the practice field attacking it. This is one of those weeks that you don't have to give any extra fuel for our players to be excited and ready to roll. They all understand the significance of this game, how important it is, and they're definitely ready to attack. But before we hop into that, I want to give a shout out to Coach Graves and his W that he already got. I know Coach Altman's about to go get his right now. Excited to see the basketball team go have success. That being said, we'll open it up.
Let's go to Matt Preem first.
Yeah, Dan, over the weekend, there was a report that you had mutual interest with Auburn. I was curious if you'd like to address that.
Yeah. First off, I'll say when, things like this are going to come up when you have team success and when you do your job and things go the way, they're supposed to go. That's credit really to our team. That being said, I think there's a little bit of a problem in society today with people looking for what's next and where there's an opportunity. And the reality is, the grass is not always greener. In fact, the grass is damn green in Eugene, right? And I want to be here in Eugene for as long as Eugene will have me. This place has everything that I could possibly ever want. My family could ever want. I've got an 11-year-old that's lived in 8 states. The last thing I ever want to do is leave, right? So I want to enjoy this opportunity here. It's been a phenomenal place for us. And when you talk about things that align, things that match your vision for what you're looking for as a head coach, Oregon checks every box for me, right? So when other people, I think history maybe shows that this is a great place to be and not a great place to leave. I want to be here. And hopefully that's the last time I have to really address it. But the reality is this is a destination, not just for me, but for elite players. And why is it a destination? Because great administration, great fans, great support. And it's a good reason to be here and why we're having success that we're having.
Let's go, Zach Neal.
On a bit of a different note, Washington has the number one passing offense in the nation as far as yards per player, yards per game by a pretty large margin. What is it about them, about Michael Penix, that makes them so dynamic in that aspect of the game?
Obviously has a history, with Coach DeBauer and the fact that they're able to connect. It's really a lot of it's about the distance of throws, right? They have long distance shots that they connect on down the field. I think that they have a really talented wide receiver group, probably as talented as anybody we've seen outside of, Arizona. They had a really good group as well. They do a good job protecting up front, and he has a really good understanding of the offense and how they operate, but they take a large number of shots downfield consistently through the game, as much as, as any team that we've played.
Let's go to James.
Kind of following that, Dan, you guys have kept the top on the coverage really nicely the last 2 weeks, 3 passes of 50+ yards allowed. I realize under different circumstances each time, but is there a vulnerability that has been uncovered a little bit that you guys need to shore up, particularly against an offense like this?
Yeah. We got to get better at that. For sure.
Go to Eric Scopel.
Yeah, Dan, I'm curious, just in Penix in particular, you never know what you're going to get out of a transfer quarterback. He seems like one of those success stories along with Nick's. Kind of what has made him able to kind of fill in so seamlessly with the new team and be one of the best passers nationally?
I think obviously his familiarity with the staff has made it, a success story quick. He's a talented player. He throws the ball well, and there aren't a lot of throws that he can't make. He plays quarterback, right? He does a good job of operating from the pocket. He can be elusive at times, but I think he's, has a lot of confidence in the guys that he's throwing to, and obviously he's been able to turn that into success.
All right, Max Torres.
Yeah, Dan, just wanted to ask what the latest was with Taki and Chase as far as their availability this week.
Taki was able to get out there and do a little bit today. We'll see what he looks like moving forward. Chase is still, going through that process, but we'll see.
Let's go to Gabriel Marmon.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask you about so much been talked about Washington's offensive production this season. And I just wanted to know, the defensive mentality this week, is it more to bend, not break, or is there strictly a number of points you don't want to give up?
Yeah, 0 points. And I'm not going to tell you our plan, but it's to stop the other team.
We'll go back to Matt Preem.
Dan, did you guys appeal Jamal's targeting call and the
We're gonna
result.
get this
Just,
question every week, aren't we? And every week we're going to appeal, and y'all already probably know the answer. We have appealed, and
what's the impact with him
we
out
got
the
to coach
first
it
half?
better. We got to coach better on our end of hitting in the strike zone, right? Doing a good job of being in the target zone and coach tackling better on our part. It's disappointing. I don't, you hate to lose players and you want to be able to play, in moments like this, big games like this, you want your players to be available and able to play. And Jamal's a phenomenal teammate for our team. And, not having Jeff there in the first half, it gave opportunities for some other guys to step up this past week, but it's something we want to coach better so we can avoid it happening. You hate for it to happen late in the game like it did. Again, I know the intent of the rule is to protect players and make sure players stay safe. And so I'll say that we can coach it better so we can avoid it moving forward.
Zach Neal.
Coach, to put it simply, what needs to happen for this defensive line to have more success in the pass rush and get into the quarterback?
Winning your one-on-ones up front. This is a good O-line. I think this is one of the more talented O-lines that we've gotten to go against. But at the end of the day, it's about a man beating the man across from him. You have to have great get off. This is a team that's going to quick set more, and they change their protections. They'll cut up front. They do some different variations of looks. We have to be able to handle that well. But ultimately, you pull up a sack tape every single year, and the number one trait of a team that gets sacks is phenomenal effort. So we got to give great effort up front and be able to finish and make sure he's not able to hold on the ball.
James?
With their two main receivers in Adunze and McMillan, they're and several others for that matter, they're kind of, I think, the first team since Arizona who can really test you guys with that many targets. What do you see in Adunze and McMillan in particular, since they're very consistent contributors to them?
Yeah, again, I think, the thing that shows up with all these guys is the targets happen, a little bit further down the field. They are guys that can catch the ball and run as well. In space, they do a good job with the screen game, but ultimately they're really good route runners. Seems like they have a really good understanding where the ball is going to be placed. It starts with the vertical passing game, and then they're able to hit balls on overs and climbs, crossers. They do a good job of changing the variations of routes that they run. So we have to do a good job matching up.
Eric?
You mentioned a couple of dinged up guys. Can I ask about a couple more? DJ being one of them, Stephen Jones, is he getting closer? And I guess Jordan James, was that an injury that kept him out of the game, or was that?
I feel like all those guys will be, available. I know Steven's been working his way back, but I think they're getting closer and closer. Steve was able to get some work in today.
Max?
Yeah, Dan, your guys' schedule has tested you in a variety of ways. Things obviously got started early with Georgia and then BYU, UCLA middle of the season. How do you feel like your schedule and your opponents have prepared you for the back half of this season with the games you have coming up?
Well, I think the only game that matters is the next one, right? And what we've done to this point, obviously coming off of game one wasn't the result we wanted, but since then our players have done a really good job of having great resolve and attacking what we can get better at each week, and that really hasn't changed. I think one thing you can say is we're about to play a really good opponent. I think everyone in our organization recognizes what kind of team we're about to play. They're playing really good ball. That being said, we're excited about this matchup and ready to go get out there on the grass.
Gabriel?
Coach, we saw a lot of defensive communication right before the Tyson 81-yard touchdown last week. I just want to know how do you feel the defensive communication has progressed throughout this season, and do you feel does there need to be a step up communication?
Yeah, I think there always can be, a step up, when it comes to, elite defenses communicate at a really high level. And this Saturday, I'm hoping, I know our fans are going to be so loud that it's going to require elite communication, on that side of the ball. This is going to be one of those environments that our guys can show up. But at the end of the day, there's a complete coverage bust. There's a guy that's not playing the coverage right in that one. And, signaling and communicating, if you don't do the right job, it doesn't matter.
Okay, going back around to Zach.
Coach, I know you've been in a lot of rivalry games in your career. I'm curious, through talking to former players and coaches, what you kind of learned about this rivalry with Washington specifically over the years.
No love lost. That's really clear. There is no love lost in this game. And that's something that's exciting. It makes games like this fun. I think getting to talk to some former alumni that have played here, coaches, Coach Pilati, Dan Fouts, guys that I've been able to kind of link up with and just communicate with on what this game's like been over time. It's been exciting for me because this game means something to people And, not just our players want to go out there and execute every single game, but it means something to people outside of that arena, and excited to see our fans come up and make an impact, but also our players get out there and take care of business.
James?
Kind of following with that, Dan, in learning this one, it's certainly going to take a little bit of a different tone, given that you and Kalen are both first-year coaches here, but the tone and temperature over the last couple of years, especially last year, was really venomous and with a lot of vitriol. I mean, there's a lot of things said that became headlines during the week, comments post-game in the locker room about everything that's wrong with football. How do you kind of embrace parts of those things, and how much of the tone that for the players who return, do you want them to keep some of that, and do you want to put your own stamp on this?
I can't really speak to, anything that's necessarily happened in the past. I think that there's a thing called pride and performance and the way that we prepare and the way we execute the game. But generally for us, we want our pads to talk, right? And that's the plan. We hit the grass, our pads are going to do the talking. And this game means a lot to us. I've got a lot of respect for, Kalen. He's one of the winningest coaches in college football. He's had a lot of success, and he's kind of done it the hard way, right? Come up, from small school and worked his way up and really busted his tail to get where he's at. So there's a lot of respect on my end for him and the job that he's done. That being said, this is a game we want to win, and I know how important it is to all Duck fans.
Eric?
More rivalry talk, I guess. You mentioned talking to players, former coaches. Does this game come up organically? Did you kind of seek out what this game means, or is that just something that happens naturally in the course of conversation?
Yeah, it's combination, right? I wanted to be able to just make sure that I'm able to speak from knowing, right, rather than assuming. And I don't know that you get that without having some communication. And I'm always looking for ways for us to play, at our best. And I feel like an opportunity to play at our best is just to soak up some knowledge of some people that have experienced it firsthand.
Okay, most of you guys are trying to get back up to the basketball game, so we'll go last question to James.
We talked about BA and him really playing very well for you, Dan, a couple of weeks ago, but he's kept that going. And I don't put all the stock in the world in Pro Football Focus, but they do rate him very well and grade him very well. What has he continued to do, not just in a one-off, not in just passing situations, to be that effective for you on all downs?
Yeah, he's he's proven that he can get guys down on the ground. That's something that matters. Obviously, his range and speed has been special in the passing game. I know if he was sitting here with you right now, he'd be telling you the things that he can do better, which that's what I always look for. He was a big helper as a teammate last week, running down for us on kickoff. I think he's growing in his role in special teams as well. So look for him to do more big things as we move forward. But I know he wants to improve, and we certainly appreciate the effort he's putting in.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it, everybody.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. Go Ducks.